I more than doubled this e-commerce brand's SEO traffic from 25,000 a month to over 60,000 a month in just 2 months of working with them. This came after a huge traffic drop after a Google update, and in the same 2 months, I've helped them recover over 250 number one rankings to the transactional pages. I'm going to break down the entire case study, what I did, how it worked, and why it worked. So let's get into it. So here's a site in SEMrush. So we started with them back in February. So they're at about between 25 and 27,000 pretty much the entire month. Okay, we started in early February, so technically 25 and a half, 26,000. Okay, you can see obviously a huge traffic drop starting in November of last year, which pretty much continued to disintegrate until they reached out to me. And since reaching out to me, we are crushing. Honestly, we're at 61,000 organic visitors a month as of now. I'm going to show you what those keywords are. But we went from 25, 26 to 60, so more than doubled it. I'm really stoked about the progress. We are going to ramp it up from here. Basically, I was testing out one theory that I thought was going to be the likely cause, and it turns out it was. Okay, now perhaps I got lucky, but I'm still going to show you what that what that theory was and why it worked. All right. So here are the keywords. We're looking at pretty much month-over-month changes because the keyword improvements didn't really pick up till kind of like mid end of March, right? So looking at month-over-month improvements here, you can see the growth on some of these right away, right? Anime shorts moving from 24 up to position 1, 2,500 searches a month, right? So that was a big win, obviously right away. Gym shorts 15 to 1, 1,600 searches a month, also a big one. 31 to 1, 25 to 1, 9 to 1, 16 to 1, 13 to 1. So like all these keywords got on the page one, and not just on the page one, but to the number one spot very quickly. Okay. So it turns out the theory was actually right. So basically what had happened was that the brand had like I think they were using like freelancer SEO. Someone like they're paying them very little money. I don't know what the number was. I don't know where their person was based. I don't know what their SEO experience was, but it was like a couple $100 a month. Okay. It was like kind of a VA style of VA basically, or VA style like SEO, right? Now, I also believe that they employed some people at some point to build backlinks to their website. Okay. Now, we don't typically do a backlink audit, but given the enormous traffic drop, I was curious as to what may have happened. Okay. I had a few ideas. I am by no means a recovery expert. I know a lot of people were kind of selling that service after, some of the updates in 2023 and 2024, like especially with niche sites. I am not saying a recovery expert. Okay. I had a few theories. I tested them. They seem to work. Okay. Now, what those theories were, I was pretty certain that the backlinks they were building were going to get them penalized, or maybe not penalized, but I was certain that the backlinks they had built were not good ones, given that the price they told me they had paid for them and the reports they had sent over had been built. So they paid like not a lot of money. All the anchors were like exact match to category pages, and those two things alone, like I didn't really need to read any further, right? I knew based on the price and knew based on the fact that they were exact match anchors to category pages that the backlinks they just basically just built too many of them and too many bad ones at that. Now, what we did when we started building links was effectively we just said, just going to build branded homepage links. That's it. Okay. We need to put this site in a better standing than Google. We need to build up kind of authority from the get-go. Now, I actually didn't expect it to happen this fast, to be quite frank with you. Branded homepage links, if you're trying to correct course on like a traffic drop, typically is going to take longer than 2 months, right? Like I said, I did get a little bit lucky. I was also testing a second theory alongside this, which I'll show you what that is too. Now, basically by injecting more branded homepage links like in the site, basically we're just starting to kind of regain trust with Google. Okay. I also told them to stop building any more links with these other providers. And they said, well, we already have a contract with them. We have to build 2 or 3 months of them. So then I said, fine, give them explicit instructions that they have to build branded homepage links as well. So now we're like, other team was building probably like 20 or 30 links a month, and we were probably building around like 5 or 10. Ours were much higher quality than the other 20 or 30, but branded homepage links are still more or less safe as long as you're doing that. Okay. As long as you're doing branded anchors to the homepage. Now, with 25 to 35, let's say links flowing into the homepage, that's a way higher volume of backlinks than I would imagine the average person is building to their homepage. Now, that being said, I think that's probably a very good chunk of the reason why what normally should have probably taken 6 months to course correct traffic only took 2 months, right? Because we just basically multiplied the volume by like 3 or 4 into the homepage. So that was for kind of solution number one. All right. Now, again, I think that's part of it. The other part was that the category pages didn't have any descriptions on them whatsoever. Okay. They had a meta title, meta description, and the page title. Okay. I've said this 1,000 times. You should optimize your collection / category page descriptions. Okay. Now, there's a couple of reasons. Well, there's really like one big reason for this. So let me get into that. If you just have a meta title, a meta description, and an H1, all of which should theoretically have your target keyword, you have not really given Google a lot of information to go off of when it's trying to evaluate and then rank your page. Okay. Yes, I'm aware that a lot of big brands don't have category description, collection descriptions. Okay. That is because they are big brands. Okay. There are really two ways that you can rank higher in Google search. Okay. You can, and the only two are relevance and authority. Okay. The relevance component comes from the content that actually exists on your site. Okay. So how you optimize your collection pages, your product pages, your home pages, your blog content, the internal linking amongst your blog content to contribute to topical authority. Okay. All of those things go into the relevance bucket. Okay. The other bucket is purely authority. Okay. Now, people call authority a lot of different things in SEO. Really, it's backlink building. Okay. Link juice, link equity, whatever you want to call it. It's all authority. Okay. Now, the reason big brands rank so highly but do not require a category description is because they have so much more authority than everyone else. Okay. Now, if I want to outrank Amazon as an example, okay, topical authority would be one of the ways I would approach trying to outrank one of their category pages. It's a component, but it wouldn't be the first component. Okay. A category description though, like actually on the page I want to rank ahead of Amazon's page, or like, Home Depot's or Sephora's page or whoever, like the only way I can even begin to catch them is by filling up the bucket that they have left empty. Okay. They have filled up the authority bucket nearly full, but they have left the relevance bucket empty on that particular page. So if I can fill up that bucket on my page by adding content, I can supply enough relevance to Google to close the backlink gap. Okay. Now, to like visualize it another way. Okay. Let's say the backlink gap between myself and the number one result is 25 backlinks. Okay. They have 50. I have 25 hypothetically to this category page specifically. Okay. Now, let's assume neither of us at this current moment in time have any collection description, any category description on the site. Okay. Number one result doesn't have it. They just have a bunch of links and a product grid. Okay. And I'm the same way. I just have the H1 and the product grid. Now, I have a 25 backlink gap close. Okay. That's going to be thousands of dollars worth of links. Okay. I'm a frugal person. I don't want to have to buy 25 I don't want to have to buy 25 backlinks. And really, I'd actually have to buy more than 25 because I also have to buy some homepage backlinks to counterbalance. So in any case, I don't want to buy, let's say, 50 or 75 backlinks. So what I can do is I can fill up my relevance bucket by adding the actual copy to the category page itself. I can theoretically close that 25 link gap to something much more digestible. The math, I don't know what the number would be hypothetically, right? But let's say instead of it being a 25 link gap, it's now more like a 10 link gap. And the fact of the matter is that all I did was fill up my relevance bucket by adding actual content to the page. And I see this all the time. And it may shock you, like the link gap number may surprise you, right? And those are hypotheticals, but they're just meant to kind of visualize what's actually happening. However, these pages that I just showed you, these rankings, simply all I did was actually add descriptions to category pages, and then I internally linked them to one another. So I filled up my relevance bucket on these pages. All of a sudden, they're back in the number one spot. Okay. Between that and the branded homepage links, I got a lot of good things going for me, right? I'm building branded homepage anchors, which historically this site has not done. So I'm kind of getting back in, let's say, Google's good graces, if you will, by building, more trust back into the site. And I'm supplying them more relevance to rank the page more accurately. Two things which they like a lot. Okay. Now, these two things were really like the biggest levers we pulled. No blog content. We actually skipped technical SEO, which a lot of SEOs are probably going to hear that and pull their hair out, but we skipped technical SEO entirely, right? The site was fine enough. Technical SEO was not going to be the reason that they fell from, 80,000 visits a month to 25,000, right? Like very unlikely that technical SEO was going to be the cause of that. And the reason I believe that is because they didn't migrate the site. Like it just started to fall. Had they done migration, sure, yeah, I would have absolutely looked at the technical SEO probably first before anything, because I would have assumed the critical error was there. But in fact, it wasn't. I believe it was largely in the link building, and I believe it was largely in the lack of category descriptions. Now, I don't know. I haven't gone back and audited like if other brands, like their competitors pre-drop, had just added the descriptions, and then other competitors had filled up their relevance bucket, and we had not yet done that. And so maybe that's why they started to drop. It's less so of like an error, more so as like the other competitors just got better at things. That's possible. I've seen that happen a number of times. However, once we started building a high volume of branded homepage links, we had a lot of trust flowing, and that gave us kind of momentum to then update all of these descriptions, or add descriptions for the first time, and build these internal links. And now we've got a site Google loves. So the plan was to do like 15 to 20 collections a month. Now that we've pretty much validated that it's working, we're going to start like turbo ramming these, and we're going to start pushing like way higher volume on the collections. Obviously, as you guys saw, like the brand is largely anime themed. However, there's a lot of other categories we want to expand into with them, and other keywords I honestly think we can win, most of which have a substantially higher volume than just the anime related ones. So I believe the site's like definitely got cool 100K in it, like organic visitors a month, inside the next few months. So excited to see what happens. Okay. But if you have a traffic jam like this, branded homepage links are probably the safest, most relatively guaranteed way to save it. And again, if you don't have descriptions on your category pages, my advice would be to go add them right now.